Give me the understanding of how important people owning their own story and learning how to be a storyteller is, because I feel like it's almost like a lost art that people are not really focusing on, but it's still so important to building a brand, a personal brand.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, it's interesting because, like, for me, I taught a lot of storytelling and still do. And initially, it was for, how do you tell a 30-second story if you have time on like something like this, or how do you tell a 90-second story, maybe if you're doing a webinar, 2 minutes, like and then when you get on a stage, how do you tell a 10-minute story? Like, what's the difference, right?
Yeah.
So, so I think like you have to have a structure to your storytelling based on what you're on, right? But also, one of the things that I think is important in a story is like, what's the pit? In an industry, a lot of speakers will get up, and you see a lot of this in advertising, but even with us, it's like you don't have a lot of time in ads to say a lot, right? So in an advertisement, you might say about your successes, and if you have time, you'll talk about your pits and your failures. But like storytelling sometimes misses that today. You really need to have like a really good pit. So, my pit of my overdose is it's a good pit. There's more to that as well, but it's a good pit to talk about because it talks about loss. And it's not about the overdose. It's about the question after the event. So if I go, hey, and I woke up the next morning, I was revived, and I realized money didn't do it. It didn't make me happy. Well, my customer base is asking themselves that question, right? Because I'm selling a product that's about, get your message to millions, speak to millions. So you want to help people. You want to make a difference. You want to impact and make money, which is different than a product that I'm selling if I'm just selling stocks. It's about money, right?
Yeah.
So in the story, whatever the event is, people go, well, my pit moment isn't relatable. And I said, no, it's always relatable, because if it's personal, it's going to be relatable. But it's the question or statement you make after that moment in the story that gets the customer thinking. And so that's the key component of storytelling. So if I go, well, money didn't do it, right? And I realized money didn't make me happy. The customer's going, wow, is money going to make me happy? I never got to six figures, but maybe there's more to that. Then I go fast forward at 28, I become the number 5 partner out of 500 partners. And I have this question, like, is this all there is to my life? Well, my customers are asking themselves that question. Yeah. They're in transition from one career to the next, or they want to become a speaker. So they're asking themselves that question, right? And then the story goes on, I'm in my condo, my face is in my hands, right? And my house is in foreclosure. What the hell am I going to do with my life? That's what the customer's asking. So all the story, people go, well, my story, nobody's going to relate to the drug overdose, right, Ted? Because I didn't overdose from drugs. I didn't have a near-death experience. It's not about that. It's about the question after, right? And if you can take people into the pit moment of the loss, and they're like, God, I'm down on the floor, they'll think of their loss moment. It doesn't have to be an overdose. They'll think of their loss moment. They'll go, wow, I was down and out like that too when my wife left me or my husband left me. And automatically they go to that event, and then they start asking themselves the question. And that's the power of storytelling. And then, of course, at the end of the story, you need to know, what do you want them to walk away with?